Hi, hello. Um, so I'm going to be continuing with my May's Mental Health Awareness Month series, and I'm going to be talking today about anxiety. Anxiety is also one of those really common mental illnesses that a lot of people have. And I'm not talking about like anxiety as like an emotion or an experience that people feel. Like people feel anxious about going on stage and public speaking, or people feel anxious about um, a big event. I'm talking about anxiety as um, a disorder. So, generalized anxiety disorder. So, feeling anxious all the time, um, or feeling anxious about a generalized number of areas out of proportion to the impact of the events of what they actually do or have. Um, so, generalized anxiety disorder um, is it's a disorder. It's not just specific anxiety to specific events. It's having anxiety, like a blanket anxiety, all the time. And it's like it has varying symptoms. So it can be like persistent worrying um, over your general life for that's out of proportion, like I said, to the impact of the events going on in your life. It can be overthinking and overthinking plans and solutions to all the possible worst case scenarios. It can be perceiving all situations as threatening, or perceiving all events or most events as threatening even when they aren't. It can also be like having a real hard time handling any type of uncertainty. So those things are really tied into a generalized anxiety disorder. Um, a lot of times, like for me, with my anxiety disorder, I have a lot of indecisiveness. I feel like I can never make the right decisions, so I just don't make decisions. I'm very indecisive. I hate making decisions. I don't like making decision for dinner, or what to wear, um, or like even small things, because I'm scared that I'm going to make the wrong decision. Even if there really is no wrong decision, I am scared of making the wrong decision, or making a bad decision. So I just have like this persistent indecisiveness. Um, I guess generalized anxiety can also be like not being able to relax, or being restless all the time, or being on edge all the time, or not being able to concentrate, um, or being the opposite and just your mind going blank all the time. And those are just the brain things that generalized anxiety causes. There's also like physical things that generalized anxiety can cause, like fatigue and muscle tension and aches and twitching and sweating and digestive problems and being irritated and not being able to sleep. Um, and basically anything wrong that can happen to your body can be caused by anxiety. Um, so, and that can also be really annoying if you have an anxiety disorder. Anything wrong that's happening to your body can be caused by anxiety. So a lot of times, if something is actually wrong happening to your body and you have an anxiety disorder, doctors will oftentimes be like, maybe you're just anxious, and will be very invalidating to your experience. So Like if you have like a medical emergency, sometimes your doctor will in the emergency room will be like, maybe you're just anxious, and maybe you're not just anxious, and maybe you're having an actual medical emergency. Who knows? Not the doctor, because the doctor just thinks you're anxious. Anyway, um, not like that's ever happened to me. It's yeah. Okay. Anyway, um, what does anxiety feel like personally? Personally, for me, anxiety feels like um, I get a feeling right here in my chest, like right on my sternum. I get a feeling of like tightness, and then I get tingling across my face, and that's how I know that I'm having some pretty severe anxiety. I get those two feelings, and then I get a headache, and um, that's when I know that I'm anxious. Those are the body signs that my body gives me, telling me, "Hey, you're anxious. Maybe you should do some deep breathing exercises and calm down." That's what I tell myself, at least. And that's how my body reacts. I will also get really tight in my muscles, like my shoulders will get really tight, my back will get really tense. I will, I mean, my heart will kind of race a little bit, but my heart always races because that's just my own chronic illnesses. But when I'm anxious or my anxiety is getting really bad, those are the things that happen to me. If I have missed my anxiety controlling medication that I take every single day, or I'm supposed to take every single day, my body will tell me. And the way I act will tell me as well. I will get really, really irritated. I get really irritable when I'm anxious. And um, I and that's part of my anxiety because I get really on edge and I can't relax and I'm scared that something's gonna go wrong, that um, someone is going to like get really mad at me for some reason, or that like those are the thoughts that go through my head. Someone's gonna get mad at me. I'm going to get in trouble. Um, I'm going to get yelled at. I'm going to be punished for some reason. Um, just something bad is going to happen to me, and those are the feelings that I'm going to get. And I don't want bad things to happen to me. I don't want to get yelled at. I have that. I have a really big fear of that happening to me. So I get sweaty and nervous and scared of those things happening to me, and that is um, how I get anxious. I get that anxiety feeling. Um, so yeah, that's how it feels for me. Um, um, how does anxiety affect the way you interact with people and the world? Um, I think it affects the way I interact with people in that I am a people pleaser. I will do my customer service voice to a lot of people. I will do a lot of things. I will go out of my way to make sure people are appeased and making sure that they're getting what they want, even if it doesn't always make me happy. If they are getting what they want and they're not getting mad at me, that's fine by me. That's how it affects the way I interact with people in the world, at least for strangers. But I do have my own boundaries. I have learned to set boundaries for myself. So I don't get taken advantage of. I have learned to set those boundaries for myself over time because I don't want to get taken advantage of because of my anxiety. I don't like the way it feels to get taken advantage of. So yeah. Has your anxiety gotten worse with the pandemic? Absolutely. Yeah. Um, I am anxious about getting sick. I get anxious about confrontation. Um, when it comes to people like not wearing their mask over their nose, I get anxious about the people who don't cover their nose, being people who don't care about other people. So I get anxious about the type of people that they are and how they are going to treat other people around them. So, like, if I see someone not covering their nose, like wearing their mask over their nose, I assume that they are the type of person who does not care about other people. And I also assume that they're the type of person who's going to cause trouble with customer service workers and be rude to them and cause confrontation. And that makes me really anxious. I don't like that. Um, I assume that they're the type of person who is a mean, confrontational person. So every time I see a person with their mask under their nose, and they're just blatantly hanging around with their nose out, and they're walking around with their nose out like that, I just assume that they're a bad person. And it makes me anxious. I don't want to be around them, and I don't like. Also, they're spreading germs, and I that makes me anxious too. They're spreading germs. I don't want to be around their germs. No, thank you. It's a pandemic. Please stay away from me. What are some ways you manage your anxiety? I manage my anxiety with medication. Um, I take my anti-anxiety meds. I have like a medication that I take every day to like keep my anxiety at a controlled level, and then I also take PRN or as needed medication, and then I also take um, like the stinky cabbage, the devil's lettuce. I use that to calm myself every once in a while just to chill out. Um, and yeah, I think it's very helpful for me. I also use what is called progressive muscle relaxation. It is a exercise that I learned during a research study as part of a research study that I was in to um, as like a way to relax. Um, so basically, there are 16 muscle groups that you or that I that are tensed and relaxed in succession, and those 16 muscle groups can be broken down into like uh, seven and then down to four muscle groups, um, depending on how much time you have. But yeah, it's a great way to relax and manage my anxiety. So yeah, I think it's really helpful. Being able to find ways to relax are great ways to manage anxiety. Other ways that I like to relax are like playing Animal Crossing, finding things to read, um, and just being able to find things to distract myself with. Um, that's a good way to relax. Crafting, art, just doing things like this. This is kind of a relaxing thing. Not necessarily relaxing, but it's a distracting thing that allows me to keep my mind busy and not have to worry so much about everything else that's going on in the world in this moment. Um, are there things that your anxiety will not allow you to do? Yes. And this leads into the next question, which is, do you believe there is such a thing as a healthy level of anxiety? Um, So, one, are there things that your anxiety will not allow you to do? Yes. My anxiety will sometimes not allow me to go get the mail. My anxiety will sometimes not allow me to, um, like, ride my bike um, by myself alone. My anxiety will not let me take a walk on my own in my neighborhood. But this isn't necessarily a bad thing because the like getting my mail probably something that I should work on. I should probably work on being able to get my mail by myself. I can get my mail sometimes. I can get my mail sometimes if I have enough motivation to get my mail. But like if I don't, sometimes it is too scary to get my mail. But if I have enough motivation, like there's a package that I really want and I know that it's out in the mail, I will get the courage to get my mail. Um, Going on a walk out by myself, um, a little bit scary for me. Not something that I would really do. Going on a walk with my dog, maybe. If it's nice enough out and I have my phone with me and I have contacted people about me going on a walk, sure, I will maybe possibly do that. It's the anxiety. Like, my anxiety will tell me that it is a very dangerous thing to go on a walk. Um, is it really a dangerous thing to go on a walk? Probably not. My neighborhood is pretty safe. It's a pretty safe neighborhood. There's not a lot of crime in my area. Um, um, Same with biking. It's not really a dangerous thing for me to go biking, but there is a risk for me because of my chronic illness. Um, that biking is not necessarily the safest thing for me to do by myself. Same with going on a walk. Probably not the safest thing for me to go on a walk by myself because of my chronic illnesses. It's um, you know not necessarily super safe for me to do a lot of physical things alone. So, is there a healthy level of anxiety? Yes, because it keeps me from doing things that I probably should not do um, alone. Maybe there are things that are dangerous, and it's okay that they are dangerous. Um, like anxiety would also keep me from skydiving. Like, okay, that's a different type of anxiety. That's not like generalized anxiety disorder, right? Skydiving, the anxiety that you feel before skydiving is not the same generalized anxiety that you feel about everything else that makes you anxious, right? That's a different type of anxiety, but it's the same kind of like, is that a healthy level of anxiety that you would have about skydiving? Yeah, that's absolutely healthy. Like, you're going to be jumping out of a plane. If you don't feel anxious about jumping out of a plane, at least a little bit. Like, sure, you have that adrenaline rush about being excited, sure, yeah, but you got to feel at least a tiny bit anxious about that, right? Like a little bit of butterflies in your stomach before you jump out of a plane. Like, what if your parachute doesn't open? You got to have that tiny bit of self-preservation, right? That's got to be like that healthy level of anxiety. Um, so I do believe there is such thing as a healthy level of anxiety. But if you have a healthy level of anxiety, then you don't necessarily have an anxiety disorder, right? So like that's if you so yes, there is such thing as a healthy level of anxiety, and that's the goal that we reach for when you're in treatment for your anxiety disorder, is to reach that healthy level of anxiety with your medication and therapy and management and coping skills. Because when you have an anxiety disorder, you're not at that healthy level. You're at a disordered level, and that's you know not where you want to be. um so yeah. um I've rambled a little bit about my anxiety. I hope this experience was a little bit relatable and that you were able to relate to my experience of anxiety. Um, Let me know what your experience with anxiety is, and if you were able to resonate with my experience, if you have the same sort of like body feelings that I have, like that tightness and the muscle tension. um, if you want me to talk a little bit more about like progressive muscle relaxation, I would love to. I think it's a really cool thing to do. um, and I think it's really helpful. It's really helpful for me, and I'd love to talk more about it. um, but yeah, thank you for joining me on this talk about my anxiety. I think I'm getting a little bit anxious about how long this video is, and it's making me like, people are gonna hate me for how long this video is. Great. If ooh, also, have have you been invalidated by doctors, um, telling you that you're not sick, you're just anxious? I feel like as someone with an anxiety disorder, I get that a lot. Um, it's really irritating because it's very invalidating. Um, Let me know. I want to know. Um, I want to know that it's not just me. I know it's not just me. I'm sure it's a lot of other people. But yeah, thank you for joining me. I hope you have a great day. Take care of yourself. I love you. Bye.